going with YouTube. Uh, because today's Sunday. Now, normally I keep the weekends for YouTube exclusively because honestly, YouTube has done so much for Useless Agent, and it's been our biggest platform, and just we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the attention that we got on SoundCloud and YouTube. So I found it kind of unfair that this new streaming device does not work with YouTube. I thought that was kind of spitting on the face that it's kind of like biting the hand that fed me, and I don't want to do that. And some people will complain saying you're not on YouTube anymore, and that's when I used to find your show. So that's when I created this idea. When I asked you guys to send off and send me anything on uh, uselessagentmusic@gmail.com. We did read your emails. We did respond to a lot of them in the previous video. And so I want to make sure I get that page again because I remember there were, I think, maybe one or two real good questions on here. Because we don't get much. There's really not much. But okay. So starting off, person, I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, the question is, has STS taught you? Oh my God, what am I doing? I forgot our fucking ritual. Oh my God, how stupid is that? All right, hang on one second. Hey, and our good friend Chris is here. She'll be co-hosting on a couple of days a week, starting eventually. Chris, if you're watching, can you please put up the hashtag that we need to put up? Cheers. Um, so, yeah, I wanted to get to these kind of questions. Oh, there it is. And don't forget, Free Ben's Doink is our main hashtag we've been using for quite some time now. I still find it hilarious. But there's a lot of I don't know. I want to say there's been some confusion on uh how we're treating everybody when it comes down to the I don't even know what I'm saying. Basically there's a lot of confusion on do we answer the questions, do we even bother to read them, do we even respond to them? And I've told multiple people that yes, we do. Okay, so the first question says here, has STS taught you anything about yourself being on that you're on for? Okay, so it's saying basically that since you're on 5 days a week, and it's a solo show for now until Chris starts joining us in the future. Um, so, no, I'm sorry to, if that's not the answer you were looking for, but no, it's taught me absolutely nothing about myself. If anything, it's taught me more about others, and it's taught me more about what you can and cannot ask of people. You have so many people that say that they want to. Oh, did I already answer that one? Oh, thank you, Chris. See, people do watch. All right. So, all right, then we'll skip that one if I've already answered. So the answer is no. Um, what do you want out? The second question. This is from uh, Howard Scott. I don't know how to pronounce that either. Howard. Let's just say Howard. What do you want to get? What do you expect to get out of STS in general? It's a pretty broad question. What do I expect to gain from STS? Nothing. More conversation. I suppose simply being on air this way. Uh, what I get out of it is more like a ventilation. Um, the show has allowed me to vent in so many different ways that instead of going for um I don't know though, man, that really put me in a weird spot. What do you get out of it? I don't know. I just get to have a conversation with strangers, and I get the support of my beautiful friend Chris. I get you know, I definitely get to see who my friends really are. Um, so, you know, when people tell you that they're going to support you and shit like that, and then you do something creative and they don't show up to your shows, or they don't, you know, if they're not attentive to anything, they didn't give a fuck. You know, that they're a true friend will always support you. And if you're in a band or something, you know, and I'm your friend, you can guarantee I'll be at your show, you know. Um, Now the final question is that I have here: are you going to finish Callus? That is probably the best question out of that. That's all of them. Am I going to finish Callus? That's entirely up to Fairy Tale Death. Um, I'm joking. It has nothing to do with it. Callus was a great idea for a. It's not. It's just an idea for the idea that there can be not a superhero, but a hero of the actual underworld that we do have, the homeless world. If you've ever met a homeless person, they live in almost like an entirely different dimension. And I thought if anybody deserves a hero, it would be that world, because I've been homeless and I've lived on the street. I've slept on the street. I've lived in shelters, and I've been around, man. And when you get to meet these people, they have such a different world that it exists there. You know, it's right in front of us. It's right there every day. But we only see it in bits and pieces. We only see it like when, a fight finally does break out, and then, it's two hobos fighting in the middle of the street. And then there's those assholes that made does anyone remember that? The hobo fights videos? Um, Hobo fights used to be a VHS tape that was like always passed around back before the fucking internet. We used to always pass around videotapes and VHSs. And I still have the Slipknot VHS because they started making these home videos to go along with albums. It didn't last too long, but a few bands did it. I think they were trying to capture onto the CKY fame with Jackass and Bam Margera. Um, they would release these little albums with these home videos of them uh, doing these, wacky stunts and going crazy and doing all these cool things. Uh, so Slipknot started doing it. ICP did it. Even Blink 182 did it. So there was a little period of time where there was hobo fights, and that's what it was literally called. And it was just people passing around these tapes of basically rich asshole kids going around and paying homeless people to fight as if they were Mandingo slaves. It was just hard to watch. So many people got such a fucking thrill out of it, and I didn't. I just thought it was just complete. Um, it was just inhumane to me. If you managed to tape a fight that came naturally from somebody's beef, a beef between two dudes, or two chicks, all right, then it's worth watching. But you guys are literally doing what rich assholes in the 1800s were doing that whole time. And that was, if anyone's seen Django, you guys would know right away that this was a real thing, paying these men to fight to the death. Now, they didn't have to fight to the death in hobo fights, but it still was just as degrading, and it was just difficult for me to watch because this is a community of people. They're still people. And I was always, I mean, you can ask Chris here. I have always been a champion for the homeless. Like, I loved homeless people from being a child. My brothers, and I would go around and hang out with guys named Chicken Man, Pigeon Man, Red Man. There was Scoop, Mike, Dex. That was over in the Lawrence, and so from Albany Park to Lincoln Square, we knew every fucking homeless person there was. And then I moved over to a different part of Rogers Park, more east, and I met these homeless people and their homeless world. Then I went to Evanston, learned about their homeless society. Excuse me. Now, one of the saddest things is that um, uh, uh, now Fairy Tale Death here is saying that she remembers Chicken Man. Now, Chicken Man is actually doing okay. He should be dead by now, but his sister had taken him out of the neighborhood, and he moved in with his sister, and we never saw him again. But our pal Red always told us that he was doing good. Now, out of all the names that I just said, from Chicken Man up to Scoob, oh, there's also a Scrappy, but the saddest thing is that I named about 7 people. None of those people are alive today. None, not one. Mike was the first to go. Mike was a homeless guy that took me in. He was really the inspiration behind Callus, and Callus um, kind of came from when I was a kid and I ran away, and this guy didn't, um, he didn't like the idea of me sleeping out on the street because he knew what goes on. I'm too young to know anything. I'm 14. So I might have been 13. And so he literally lets me sleep in his tent. And the guy never tried anything weird. He saw himself in me, and he protected me. And I know this because I'd wake up at odd times of the night, and every time I looked over, Mike was sitting at the edge, looking out as if on duty, on call, and on security watch, you know. And he did that for me because he knew that I wasn't safe there. And so I was costing him sleep, valuable sleep that he's going to need because these guys don't get to sleep very much. You have to remember, if you live out on the street, you don't get to sleep till noon. The world starts. So when that sun rises, so do you. And, you're going to be up at 4 a.m. Your day starts around 5, maybe 6. If you live in a shelter, you have to be out by 6, I think 5:50. So you have to be up before 6 a.m. And once you're kicked out of um, a shelter at 6 a.m., there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be. It's negative 10 degrees out. It's freezing. And the only thing that we can do is go to another church that doesn't open till 7. So, being homeless is one of the hardest fucking lives there is. There's no there's no break in it. People can look at homeless people as these failures of society, and that's not true. It's just I like the way that Chris said here, real life is very isolating, and that's that's always how it's going to be. So the homeless lifestyle is in its essence one of the most dangerous lifestyles. You're kicked out at 5:50 in the morning, so your day starts then, and that's only if you're lucky enough to be in an actual shelter. If not, God knows where you are. But churches don't just let you sleep there. It's not like that. So if you're not on the list, then and you're not in the shelter, you got to get on the list. So then you have to wait a few months and you just do whatever you can. So I thought if anybody deserved a superhero type or an anti-hero type, it would be these people. These are the most vulnerable people in the world. They're also some of the most dangerous people I've ever met. And so I think that callous is a perspective that nobody ever thought of. And um, coming from a person, myself being such friends with so many homeless people and living that life, uh, I definitely think it's a narrative that it hasn't been under the spotlight yet. So yes, there will be more callous to come. I'm just still writing it. And our friend Chris does some of the animation. Um, Her brother-in-law does the rest. I rely entirely on these guys to get the drawings done because I can't animate myself. I can't draw anything. I'm terrible. I'm a writer. I'm not an illustrator. Just not. So those are the questions that were need to be answered, and I told you I would get to those answers on YouTube eventually. So as for YouTube, thank you guys. Catch you on the other side. Now,